Jazzbot, we're camping. Leave your musical snobbery at home. Dear Nat and Moby, what is energy and where do we get it? From Ash. Hi, Ash. We use the word energy in everyday conversation all the time. Like, if your friend is always busy, you might say they're full of energy. In science, energy means something similar. It's the ability to do things. It lets us bike to school, charge our phones, and heat our homes. Energy is abundant in nature, and we've come up with lots of ways to harness it, even before we knew what energy was. One of the oldest and easiest ways is burning biomass, like wood and animal droppings. This campfire is a good example of biomass energy. Biomass energy is used all over the world for cooking, lighting, and heating. But it can't be saved for later, and its uses are limited. Try using fire to power your laptop. Electricity is much more flexible. It's safer, easier to store, and you can transport it over long distances. But you can't just find electricity in nature. It has to be generated. Mostly, that involves a device called a generator. Here's the basic principle. A wheel called a turbine is attached to a generator. When the wheel spins, the generator converts this energy of motion into electrical energy. To spin the turbine, you need to use some other source of energy. The most commonly used are fossil fuels, things like coal, oil, and natural gas. They're called fossil fuels because they come from the remains of dead organisms. Like biomass, fossil fuels are burned, which produces heat. The heat is used to turn water into steam, which is used to turn turbines. There are a couple of problems with fossil fuels, though. First, burning them causes a lot of pollution, which is bad for the environment. It also produces gases like carbon dioxide, which contributes to climate change. Second, there's a limited supply of fossil fuels. It takes millions of years for fossil fuels to form, and we're burning them faster than they can be replaced. It's not a question of whether we'll run out of fossil fuels. It's a matter of when. This makes fossil fuels a non-renewable source of energy. Once you burn them, they're gone and cannot be used again. That's why scientists and engineers have come up with different ways of harnessing energy from nature. One abundant source of energy is moving water. Hydroelectric power plants use water trapped by dams and reservoirs to generate electricity. Water flows through an opening in a dam and turns turbines. This can also be accomplished by using the ocean's tides. At high tide, water is trapped in a reservoir. At low tide, the water is released and channeled past turbines. Windmills work in a similar way to hydroelectric plants. Instead of water, they harness wind energy to spin turbines. Turbines can also be turned using steam. Geothermal power uses heat from deep inside Earth's crust. Water is piped down into the crust where it boils into steam. Then it's channeled through turbines to generate electricity. Steam turbines can also be powered by solar energy from the sun. But usually solar is converted directly into electricity with the use of a photovoltaic cell, also known as a solar cell. All these sources of energy, hydro, wind, geothermal, and solar, produce little to no pollution. They're also unlimited or renewable, which means we won't ever run out. Yeah, the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. And there's still no easy way to store lots of electricity for later use. That's why nuclear energy could have a big role in the future. Nuclear reactors use unstable atoms in substances like uranium and plutonium. A process called nuclear fission breaks these atoms apart, generating a lot of heat. You know the story. The heat turns water into steam, which turns a bunch of turbines. Nuclear fission is actually a non-renewable energy source. Like fossil fuels, the supply of substances we use in nuclear fission is limited. It's also got its risks. Nuclear waste spills can contaminate land and water in ways we can't clean up. Accidents are rare, though, especially with the newer and safer nuclear plants. This makes nuclear energy a cleaner energy source than fossil fuels. Scientists are also working on alternative energy sources, like fuel cells. They're different from batteries because they don't just store energy, they generate it. Fuel cells convert hydrogen and oxygen into water, producing electricity in the process. The only byproducts of the reaction are heat and water, no pollution. The hope is that alternative energy sources will let us keep our cars and devices and stuff without killing the planet. This is not how I imagined camping to be.